Structurally for the business, I think we're innovative literally in every sense. Not only the curriculum, not only the engagers, but in the model itself. Because we're setting out to do something that I think many have been afraid to do because it does not fit what typical business structures do. But the results are greater because of that. And I think that one thing I always tell our scholars is we are on a journey that we have no idea what the ending is too. So we're learners too, just like you are. We don't know where this thing is going to go. However, we give our 100%, and that's how we know success is at the end of the tunnel. And it's now, because my thing is, I didn't go to school for business. You know, I am who I am, but that and the business came after. And I think that, you know, I always tell people I hire who no one will hire, right? And I get results that you're not able to get though. So it's a compilation of things where I knew that before I ever had a degree, I had the it factor. So I knew that a degree wouldn't give me the it factor. I already had that. A degree just got me into some doors, you know, and it was a icing on the cake that was already made. And I think that being able to show scholars that a model like this can exist, integrity does exist. We're going to be millionaires and have integrity, you know, and we're going to break the mold of, you know, the higher up you get, the less and less they care about the young people. We're all in schools. Kenny is my supervisor, however, he's in schools teaching as well. I'm the founder, I'm in schools teaching as well. Mike's in schools teaching as well. And I think that when this model goes around the country and eventually around the world, we will still be in there because people don't realize this is what gives us the light and our power and our perspective. And so we are proving ourselves every day. I tell my staff, we're young, black, and successful. We have to overperform because in order for this model to be proven, we have to give our all to prove that it exists and that it can exist. And it also just shows young people, you know, I think particularly in business, as you know how business is run, it's always a hierarchy problem, right? We operate as a community. A community has leaders, has heads, has people that are, you know, the leadership, you have the community members and all that. However, it's still a community and everyone's voices are heard. So that's why I think we are setting out to do something that's never been done, and it's starting in a place like Minnesota, you know.
For me, I think that it's just what we're doing is monumental. Another thing is that I think that the cultural differences is one of the most important things, but to understand that we are the culture. You know, I think that a lot of times that, just like what Mike was saying, piggybacking off what he was saying about the data and the research, you know, or going to school to understand what African American is. Why not have an African American teach you, you know, teach those in those different schools, those different environments where we are? Why can't the Asian people teach, you know, their culture? Why can't a Native Americans teach their culture? So and so on. Not having someone fly in from another state or another country or whatever, you know, vice versa. Just knowing, or having the knowledge and the wisdom of seeing history and knowing history. Why not have the people that are the history? Speaking, and I think that's where the language barriers is, and I think that for our kids to understand as a whole is that it's only a barrier there because you put it there, you know. And I think that expanding vocabularies and also expanding the mind, being able, like we talk about, having this out of the box mentality, challenging yourself, and understanding that we talk about that it's no box until you recognize, you know, that. And a lot of times people don't see that because they only know one way. And so I think when you are from different directions, we also talked about how even from an urbanistic standpoint, we teach a lot of athletics, but we don't teach academics. So it's like 20 seconds, your whole career can be over, but all you think about is football or basketball, but you don't think about what's next. And so for me, you know, because I haven't raised my kids in the inner cities, you know, and it's not that I'm better than nobody, it's just I want better for them, you know. And the reason why I say that, because I don't want them growing up seeing drugs on the corner, and like I say, I have no offense to anyone that raised their kids, because I have little cousins that still raise it out there, and I have no offense to nobody that raised their kids in the hood. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm better than nobody, but I just have a better outlook for my children. because I don't want them ducking down. I don't want them going through the changes that we go through living in that environment. So they never got to see the glimpse of that. They never got to see that, and so it makes them better because we. And I always say that they always say that we're a product of our environment, but I think that only if you believe that you're a product of your environment. Because I had an uncle that came out of the same environment and became a state senator, you know, and so I think that it's what you believe in. We talked about it's your belief system, and so if we can get the kids to believe in themselves, that they're not, you know, stupid, or they're not ugly, or they're not ignorant, or all the things that society say, or that maybe some that their parents put on them, that they're not that, but they are successful, they are scholars, they are kings and queens, we call them, you know, speaking life into them. You know, and not damnation. I think the important things about it is that's what inspires them. That's what encourages them. When you see something greater within them than they see up in themselves. And so we all have greatness in us. So we just have the opportunity to pull it out of them.
And then saying it's bold and being bold. Like, for example, when I travel, the first place I go is the inner city. Many people spend their lives trying to get out. It's almost the same correlation between charter, public, or private. It does. I mean, regardless, it should be great. Regardless, and so, for example, my thing is, can't move everyone out the hood. However, change the hood. You know, because change the neighborhood so that because before we had all of this violence and all that, we had the phrase "it takes a village to raise children." We're bringing that back. Parents may not be able to do it by themselves. They shouldn't have. We are a community, so if you have for one scholar, a parent, a teacher, a community member, a not-for-profit, all of them supporting these scholars as buffers, it's impossible to fall. But when you only have one, the other, or none, of course our children are not performing. Correct. Because we're not providing the community for Correct. Them to perform. Correct. And I always tell our young people, don't be ashamed of where you come from. Your hood is beautiful because it's your hood. However, because it's your hood, you have that much power to recreate how that can look in the future. And just because it's been like that for the past 15 years, at any time you can change your life. You have to decide that, and you have to realize that you have the power to, at any moment, change the direction of your life. That's how powerful we are.